Who the hell are you? I'm Dr. Ted Nelson.
Welcome to round 20 of Eat the Buckle, the horror movie battle royale podcast that puts two movies in a weekly head-to-head matchup where the loser will remain in the ring another week, and we will be forced to watch it repeatedly until there is one movie left standing in an effort to determine the worst horror movie ever made. This week, we have 1977's The Incredible Melting Man versus 1971's The Vampire Happening. With me to discuss, as always, are my two co-hosts who never forget the crackers, Josh and Aaron. Gentlemen, how are you doing on this fine Saturday afternoon?
Uh, Blessed, feeling blessed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that coming in with that attitude
yeah.
for this kind of schlop.
It's because he saw an amazing movie.
Yes. I watched Jackie Brown 4K. And it was fantastic.
Did you watch that?
Mm-hmm.
4K? How'd
Yeah.
it look?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still way too long?
No, it's perfect. Perfect
Come
length.
on.
Is it
Perfect
still
movie.
about an hour and a half too much?
Nope, it's absolutely perfect.
Oh.
I'll tell you what was about an hour and a half too much.
The 86 minutes of The Incredible Melting Man.
Well, that and The Vampire Happening.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot at stake again today.
Uh-huh.
With the
Backed into a corner.
if Vampire Happening loses, it's going in the shit locker. It will be inducted.
I feel like we need a little bit more of a marketable name than Shit Locker. I feel bad because, again, people really tried sometimes
Yeah.
in these. And I think it should be like, I don't know.
The shit box.
Well, no.
Is that locker you have a problem with?
So
Yeah.
maybe now that we're like 18 episodes in, should we talk about where we got the name Shit Locker?
Go ahead.
So when we were back in high school, a friend of ours, a mutual friend, Perry, would come over to our house frequently. And there was a set of like small foot lockers in our basement for some reason. I
It
don't
was
know.
like a row of like gym lockers.
Yeah, like a row of like tiny gym
for some. I don't even know how they got there. That's
I don't know how they got
story we'll
there,
have to
but
figure
they were
out.
there for years. And for some reason, one of them housed a random collection of like cassette tapes and VHS tapes that were just like really terrible bands and really terrible movies. And so one day Perry like opened it and was looking at the stuff inside it and started laughing and called it the shit locker. And then I think he even added one of his own tapes to it. And so like that just kind of became like a running joke throughout the years was the shit locker. And that's why the loser of Eat the Buckle 6 rounds in a row gets retired to the coveted shit locker.
Which, if it happens, it will earn it. It will be an earned spot. This isn't Madman going up against
Good movies.
House of the Devil or Planet Terror. This is an actual heavyweight battle that this is made it through the muck.
Now look,
Fucking
I feel a little attacked because we might as well call this Aaron week, since this is both of my choices going head to head for the shit locker.
Well, let me just go ahead and let you know one of the notes that I wrote down when watching The Incredible Melting Man.
You mean the first new horror creature?
So like I had a couple notes on the beginning, but then about 4 rows down, I wrote, "What is wrong with my friend Aaron?"
So let me give some background on my history with this movie. I have seen this because again, this was I think a season 6 or 7 of Mystery Science Theater episode, and I since college, so 20 years, will fall asleep every night to a Mystery Science Theater. My wife hates me because of this, but it's the only way I can shut my brain off. Wow. And it just kicks in all the dopamine and everything. Then I just am like, yep, I'm good to go. or not dopamine, I guess serotonin.
Melatonin.
No, wait. And melatonin's for skin pigment. That's
I don't
melanin.
know. Yeah, because I take melatonin to
This is
fall
not a
asleep.
medical podcast. But anyway, it hits
Sorry.
all the right buttons regardless for me to go to sleep. And I have probably watched this episode of this movie more than any because I just love this movie to death. It's
Um,
just so dumb, and it's just so not kind of like with elves. There's an otherworldness to it where you look at it and you're like, these aren't real people. This is not how real people act. This is not how real people go about their day. It is just like space aliens are trying to simulate real human action and love and emotions. And that's why I think the Incredible Melting Man and even Vampire Happening to an extent, um, it's just like ridiculousness, and that's why I keep coming back to these type of movies.
it's
Well,
comfort for you.
no, let's get
It's
into
like
it then.
comfort. Well, before we get into it, I meant to bring this up last week, but we got sidetracked on a bunch of other stuff. But I do want to sidetrack us before we get into the Melting Man in earnest. You know how Wes
Wait,
Craven,
wait, were we supposed to watch an Ernest movie?
the Incredible Melting Ernest.
No, that would be
Hey
a movie.
Vern, I'm melting.
He just stared at the screen going, "Hey." His like flesh is dripping off his chin.
Oh,
You know how Wes Craven created Nightmare on Elm Street from his actual nightmares? Like that's the story, is that he, had nightmares and would wake up and write in his dream journal, and then, from that produced a billion-dollar franchise
Uh-huh.
and etched his claim in horror history. Well, I had a dream the night before we recorded last week, and I want to get it out here so that it can be, intellectual property. We can timestamp it today to make sure that we have the rights to it. I had a dream that we, the three of us, created a horror movie under our, whatever production umbrella. I don't know what the movie's about. I only know the title of it because like I could see it on the marquee when we went to, the red carpet premiere. And the
yeah.
title is There's a Species in My Feces.
Well, you got to go with a title like that. Lloyd Kaufman will be producing it.
So we don't have to do it now. We can hash it out. We can figure out what it's about. But
Was it a sequel to Species with
I was gonna
Natasha?
say,
I don't know. I have no idea what it was about. But
is it a requel to Species?
but I wanted it to be said on air so that we can point
Oh,
back to this
boy.
moment in time to say that was our idea, so that if a movie comes out henceforth in perpetuity called Species in My Feces, we can sue.
I'm glad
So
I'm starting off highbrow here today.
Yeah.
So we'll hash out the plot and all that stuff, and maybe we'll do a little who's gonna and have a recastration in the future of who will play these parts, but we'll talk about
What
it off air.
parts?
Well, you got to come up with the elevator pitch.
Yeah, well, we'll figure. I'm sure it'll be something inside someone's body that they shit out and die. That sounds probably about on par with the title.
Which isn't that
Pretty on the
basically
nose.
Milo, my friend Milo with Ken Marino?
That was about a demon that lived in. Well, yeah,
A species in a species.
See, we'll have to James Gunn it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
What Milo? I've never heard of that. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I really needed to get that out there in the ether. So
Thank you
You
for
know.
sharing.
so now it's like I've willed it out there, like what is it, the wish or whatever, that if you put it out there and think about it hard enough, you can manifest it. So
Yeah, whatever.
see, I
that
always thought it
was.
was the opposite, where if you put it out there before it was all set up, it's never going to happen.
What's that? There was like a book based on
Yeah, it was
this
the Wish, I
belief,
think.
the wish or the something, the
Uh,
happening, the
no,
vampire happening.
it's the vampire happening.
The power of positive thinking.
Yeah, it's just, manifesting and all that stuff. So that's what I want to happen with this movie. We'll make it happen.
You know what helps?
Manifesting.
What's that? Having
Cash.
having money or any
Having
gumption to
money
do anything.
and capital is the only way things happen,
Yeah.
Well, we're fucked.
Hmm.
which is why we are again doing a podcast instead of
We'll get it out there.
making movies.
Someone will come to us. Blum will be there. Sounds like a Blumhouse joint.
Blum will be there.
Are you
All
going to
right.
get Ken Marino just to really put a hat on a hat?
That would be great. Milo was crazy. That was a wild movie. That was
I
about like a demon that would come out of his ass,
yeah.
that like lived inside of him, that would come out and, do demonic stuff and then go back into his ass.
That was probably from the writer had a really bad case of what they like to call piles, hemorrhoids,
Oh yeah.
and just decided that you know what, this hemorrhoid is ruining and controlling my life. It's like a little demon, and then
Mm.
the flashlight or flash bulb just lit up.
Then Ken
And
Marino popped out of a closet. I was like, that'd be a great movie.
yeah,
Real boisterous and lovable as he
I'd
is.
love to have a demon come out of my ass.
Let's talk about today's first movie, shall we?
Yes, go
This
for it.
is
It's all in the title.
I actually, in my notes, put The Incredible Shrinking Man, so let me go ahead and change that. The Incredible Melting Man from 1977. This was written and directed by William Sachs, starring Alex Rebar. Bird Debiting, is that the name, or did I?
That's Dr. Ted Nelson.
So, okay.
Burr
Bird
Debiting.
Debiting. Myron Healy, Michael Aldridge, and Anne Sweeney. This was released theatrically on what a Christmas treat. December 23rd, 1977. Had a budget of $250,000. I don't know what the box office was. I couldn't find that. The only thing I could find was that multiple sources said it was a box office success or a critical, or I'm sorry, a commercial success. So I assume it probably made its budget and then some. Three astronauts are exposed to radiation on a journey to Saturn, leaving two of them dead, and the third, Colonel Steve West, melty. Were the creature effects too good for a movie of this quality? Yep. Will it eat the buckle? Maybe. Let's find out. Gentlemen, off the top rope, what did you think about The Incredible Melting Man?
Well, I think you have to. You discussed the cast and the director, but failed to mention that Rick Baker, seven-time Academy Award-winning special effects artist, was
I
the one
know.
who did these.
I was gonna
effects.
say not only Rick Baker, but between these two movies we're watching today, and we'll get back into Rick Baker, but you brought up a point for me. Between the two movies we're watching today, there are three Oscar winners.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see.
And-
I bring the gold to eat the buckle.
Three Oscar winners and 10 Oscars between them are represented in today's two movies, and I guarantee that will never happen again for the rest of this show.
It is important to point out that Rick Baker did not win one of those 7 Academy Awards for The Incredible Melting Man.
No, but
He could have.
I thought the creature design was awesome.
No, the special effects were. I mean, they really are the star of the movie.
Yeah, when I saw his name in the credits, I had to make sure it was the Rick Baker. And damn it if it wasn't.
What was this? Like his fourth film?
Yeah,
It was.
it was
not too
early
far
on,
in.
and I read in my cursory research that he, the movie wasn't doing great at first, or it was like predicted to not do well. The projections weren't good, so they put on the movie poster from the Exorcist special effects Rick Baker
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
and apparently
Friedkin saw that and got pissed.
Got pissed and ripped it off a wall and tore it apart and all kinds of shit because he did not want his movie associated with the Incredible Melting Man,
The
That's
first new
awful.
horror creature.
the first new horror creature. But
First new horror creature.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess we start there. Rick Baker, maybe the only thing to like about this movie was that it was way cooler looking than I thought it was going to be. Was the actual
Especially in
melting man.
1080p.
Hmm.
The special effects looked really good. Much better than a movie of this caliber deserved. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could you
Uh,
imagine in the same year working a second unit on A New Hope and then later coming up with The Melting Man?
Wait, was Rick Baker on Star Wars?
Yeah, he was second unit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either.
Also, I believe designed the suit for Harry and the Hendersons.
I believe
He won an
did.
Oscar for it. That was one of his Oscars. Was Harry and the Hendersons.
I mean, these movies like Videodrome or American Werewolf in London.
They actually, that's
The
a little
Howling,
trivia, is
The
the
Consultant.
Academy created the special effects category to give because of Rick Baker in American Werewolf in London.
Wow.
So that is his award.
Impressive.
Should just be named after him. But yeah, what a badass. And
Yeah.
really the only thing I could find enjoyable of this movie. But yeah, what were you guys'
Also,
thoughts?
before we move on from the cast, did you look at the cast on IMDb?
Let me look.
If you
Like
look
dig
at
into
Alex,
their credentials?
like just what it shows the cast, and then there's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
little thumbnail of their picture beside it. Alex Rebar's picture is just him
Oh,
head
yeah.
to toe in bandages, laying in the hospital
Yep. That's your writer for To All a Good Night right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
And
that's right.
An unknown shot of him looks like the mummy strapped to a hospital bed.
I guess we should say, just for clarity, the other Oscar winner, of course, we've talked Freddie Francis, and Jonathan Demme played a role in this movie, who then went on to direct Silence of the Lambs and won an Oscar for that. So
Who?
congrats to all our Oscar winners.
That's Jonathan Demme at the end, where it just introduces two new characters in the last 28 minutes.
Is that who I started looking for him throughout the movie, and then I forgot that I was doing that because just
he's the guy that looks
wandering.
like an Oak Ridge boy that goes into his house and then gets murdered off screen, and his girlfriend, wife screams the best Hollywood starlet scream I've ever heard. Like, she has a sweet meltdown that like just was like a real big build up. I think it was like a Bruce Campbell level meltdown in her kitchen, where she's just like, I just chopped a man's arm off and my husband's dead. And it was
Actually,
great.
since you're bringing that scene up already, I noted that we need to give her the Nicolas Cage Award for acting,
That was acting.
because the only thing she didn't do in this scene was strip down to her Fruit of the Looms and drink a bottle of liquor on a toilet. That was a Nicolas Cage style performance.
Stripping down to her step-ins and pounding some vodka.
Just inspired by it. On my 2 bits about this movie, I first want to give a shout out to Vinegar Syndrome for the 4K release on this, because I was talking about this in the pre-production that we do. This movie now in 4K looks so much better than it has any right to deserve to be. And I'm not saying that like it looked shitty to begin with, because again, I'm only used to seeing it on Mystery Science Theater DVD quality, but just like the effects look great. Even the stock footage, Ed Wood style of the Apollo missions and the Saturn rocket going off looked good in 4K. So whatever magic they do over there, I mean, A++, because now I can cherish this movie in glorious 4K for years to come.
All right.
You've never seen anything. Until you've seen the sun through Saturn's rings.
Oh,
Which
gee.
makes no sense.
No.
I will say, just to um rebuff you just a bit there. It
On the
was
quality?
hilarious. The quality of seeing the sun through Saturn's rings. I've seen plenty.
Yeah, that was a
look better
real
than that.
Atari level of special effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I've never seen anything until you've seen then that shows that. Like,
so we've talked a lot about James Gunn supposedly allegedly ripping off Night of the Creeps.
mhm.
They straight up were like, yeah, we're going to remake campy 50s movies. And again, it goes back to that thing where we had one set in mind, like, I want to make it a true horror movie. And then
Mhm.
at some point, the producers got involved and were like, no, comedy plays better. So let's throw
Yeah.
comedy in. So all that stuff with Alex Rebar and the Apollo capsule, um, completely outside of William Sacks's idea. Like, he didn't want to do any of that. He was just trying to do like what Decker did, an homage to those old movies, and have just like a straight campy horror movie. And then they were like, no, let's really push it. And I don't think the older couple in the Lemon Grove was ever going to be in it.
I
And
didn't understand that.
the whole
I
whole
loved
thing
it.
the whole thing with the how
Right.
does Alex Rebar even get back to Earth? Because it's not like it's just 2 hours from Saturn to Earth.
Yeah. I doubt they put a whole lot of scientific research for accuracy.
So let's talk about Harold and Helen,
Okay.
So-
the old people
Yeah.
that stopped in the Lemon Grove on
Yeah.
to dinner at Dr. Ted Nelson's house.
But
Uh,
his in-laws.
that's right. It was. I really wanted to see these two old people fuck.
Because that's not even.
It seemed like he was getting a handy
I
while he
thought we
was
were going to get
driving.
to see some old people fucking, and I was kind of upset that it didn't happen.
Because Judy's mom, because I guess that's not her actual dad. That's like a neighbor that
The
her mom
boyfriend, I
is
believe.
yeah. And they look, again, this is the late 70s. Those people were probably only in their 50s,
Right.
but they looked so old. And it's just like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello, like level joking, like slapstick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
where
loved them.
they were just a wild swing to pad out the film, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't understand why it was in there. I didn't understand the tone of it. But I would have rather watched a 90-minute movie of them than what we got around surrounding them.
You always make the joke like, oh, so and so came in and really stole the show. Her mom really stole the show with the moon boots, like the go-go boots that
Yeah.
she's got on.
Yeah.
She's gonna magically make a lemon meringue pie
yeah.
as soon as
We
she gets to
love
Dr.
that.
Ted Nelson's house.
Yeah. Sorry, I know we're late, but can you hold off dinner until we make a full ass pie?
Yeah.
I mean, a pie takes a couple hours.
Yeah. I gotta really zest these lemons.
Well, you know, it just so happens the general just laid down for a nap. So yeah, we've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, let's back up though.
Oh, yeah, let's back way up.
We're already towards the end of the movie with that discussion. Let's
Yeah.
let's get into
We got to really give it its laurels because this is one of my favorite movies we've watched.
I like how Ted Nelson, when he introduces himself, it's almost as like a James Bond type thing, whereas like people should already know who he is, like a wink to camera.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Dr. Ted Nelson. It's like, who the fuck
Yeah.
is Ted
Naturally.
Nelson?
just a weird he was off-putting.
Like
I don't think
said,
he was human. I think he
He was
was
AI.
yeah, they are space aliens
Yeah.
acting as humans.
His-
The
I don't
first thing you got to talk about to go back to the beginning is the stuff they added in. Like, the movie was supposed to start with the woman, the nurse, running towards the camera.
Mhm.
That was the original idea, was that she was going to be running, and they decided to keep it, but slow it down to the slowest slow-mo you could possibly have in a
Yeah.
still be a motion picture, and then smash through that door like
Yeah.
she's the Incredible Hulk.
That was incredible.
And there was no one in that long
No,
frame of her running. You saw no one else in the
Y-
picture.
Nope.
And
no.
then as soon as she jumps out the window, there's a hand grabbing for her.
Well, that's even
And why
weirder.
did she choose to jump out?
Like
She
obviously
didn't jump, she just ran through it.
He ran through.
they had the full outfit for the Melty Man, but for some reason you don't see him once in that opening scene, and the only hint of him you get is that hand like first person view grabbing at her. It was
Oh
just such
yeah,
an
where
odd choice.
it looks like he's on a skateboard.
Yeah, like why didn't they just show you what the Melty Man looks like? Because when they actually do show him, it's not like it's some crazy reveal.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
showed it. They show it before she gets chased out of her room.
It
Like,
was
Yeah.
it was bizarre.
When he's having his half-ass hissy fit.
Yeah, it was
Just
a little tantrum.
gently shakes things around him. Because he's
Smashing the cups with his fist.
yeah.
The real wet hot
Didn't
American,
really invoke a sense of this man is dangerous.
the wet hot American meltdown.
Yeah. I enjoyed the decapitation of the guy that was fishing in like what looked like a creek that had a tablespoon of water in it.
yeah,
He's
fly
out there
fishing.
fly fishing in
Fly
it.
fishing in a creek. Willie Tanner from Alf is what
Yeah.
that guy looked like.
I
Yes.
thought I did actually, and this is again to Rick Baker. I assume credit would go to him unless it was someone else on his team.
Oh, the head?
But the head
Yes.
that like slowly going down the creek
That-
and then
That's the
And then-
coolest scene in this movie.
ends up in somehow a raging waterfall. I don't know how that creek led to that waterfall, but
Mm.
the head cracking open was really in slow motion was really fucking cool.
It was awesome.
With
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
With
kudos
the-
to
That's
him
probably
once
my
again.
favorite effect in the movie for sure.
Yeah.
I also like
Oh, but sorry, just since we're talking about him, the guy was pounding a Coors and wearing. Did you notice he had a Coors Light fishing hat?
no.
So we've gone from Miller Lite sponsors to a Coors Light sponsor.
Well, the general also takes a stubby bottle out of the fridge later on
Yeah,
when
a
he's
lot
getting
of-
that turkey leg.
Yeah, the Coors Bank. So sorry,
So-
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. So, obviously the nurse dies, and Dr. Ted Nelson, and again, for as much as I've seen this movie, I never pick up on the other doctor's name because he doesn't drill it into your head like Dr. Ted Nelson
Yeah.
in every scene.
He's not
Um,
advertising it.
Where they're like he's got the Geiger counter and he's like, "Oh, there's a radioactiveness to her, Ted." But don't worry, it's at levels that we won't be exposed to. And Dr. Ted Nelson just goes right over, and I don't realize or think that in present day that operating rooms have just regular ass coffee makers in the corner. But here's a woman who's dead with her face ripped off, half her skull missing, and Dr. Ted Nelson just walks 5 feet over and just starts having a cup of Joe to get his day going
Yeah, it was much
in the
like
operating room.
yeah, much like one of the scenes that came next. Soon after that is when has the Geiger counter and he's hot on the trail of this guy, and then it shows him talking to his wife, and he's just like, "Did you forget the crackers at the store?"
Well, look, there's a couple of things that Ted Nelson doesn't like. He doesn't like being hung up on,
Yep.
and he doesn't like when his wife forgets crackers at the supermarket.
That scene was so unsettling in a way that is just the mind of a sociopath serial killer that's like there's so many other things going on that should be top of mind for him, and he's just so like, I don't know, an unseen rage under boiling under him about these crackers. That his wife seems like, please don't hit me. Like that was the vibe.
Stop
The
carrying
energy I
your
was getting.
child.
For the third time. And he's talking about his wife being pregnant to the other doctor on that whatever that people mover thing was. That
Oh
was
my
so
God.
loud.
that scene, and that was like all the exposition of the movie. Like
In
that was, they
surround
were laying
sound.
out the plot of this movie, and for some reason they were doing it
Yeah.
in this
And the loudest thing they could find to go down that hallway.
like huge working pistons and shit just behind them, like
In
whatever was
surround
going on
sound,
in the
it sounds like you are in on that platform with them because it's just like wow, 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 wow,
Yeah.
wow. And you're like, who thought this is where, like you said, Jared, let's just spill it all out, which was supposed to be the, second or third scene of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like we know all of this.
I was tempted to rewind that and put subtitles on but then I realized I really didn't give a shit whatever they were saying. That
It would have made a difference.
No, that's what I figured. So just went on with it.
Hey,
But
we
yeah,
got ourselves a couple little shits smoking a cigarette in this movie.
Oh yeah.
What'd you think of them?
I'll
Did you
tell
like
you
the
what,
kids?
I did like the kids.
Wow.
I didn't
It
find
took
them.
20 weeks for you to finally find kid actors that you liked.
Well,
And it was these?
these kid actors are terrible, but they're just acting like kids. They're not acting like the smart alecky. I'm smarter than the adults that I'm playing with that you get in most horror movies. Uh, which is I think why I enjoyed the little shits in this movie. Little cigarette smoking shits.
Little cigarette smoking
And
pieces of
then
shit.
they do some Moss Garcia. They don't have a penthouse. They're at the mailbox laughing at their friend who's upset for seeing Melting Man reading a Playboy.
Um
Uh,
the the scene that I don't understand was in there other than to meet a breast quota with the photographer.
this
Yeah.
troubled me.
And that, so when that scene was playing out, I was like, oh, this is, she was, he's like, hey baby, she's like, don't call me baby, my name's Christine or whatever. And
Yep.
I thought it was gonna, I was like, oh cool, 70s, it's gonna, like, she's gonna subvert the expectations of a horror movie and probably, hopefully put this guy in his place. She's like, I'm
Tried
not taking
to.
my top off, and then that long drawn out scene, and then she just ends up topless for no reason. I
Where
was
he
like, oh,
where he
no.
just grabs at her
Yeah.
and he rips.
Sexually assaults her, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
obviously that's not in the Mystery Science Theater version of
I was
this
gonna
movie.
ask you that, and I verbally said that out loud to Eric. I was like, "There's no way they showed that in MST."
No,
But what
no.
really pissed me off is because like I was waiting for like the melting man to attack this guy and at least give us like that yeah moment. But
Yeah,
it doesn't happen, and then they go like, and I'm sure they didn't intend this, but it's just the way, of course, it comes across in 2024. In this next scene where the cops have arrived, the photographer's just there, like taking pictures willy-nilly. So
He's
they
still,
didn't
yeah.
arrest him for attacking this woman and tearing her top off. They're like, go ahead, buddy. You
yeah,
could just go ahead and take your pictures.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
sitting in the cop car,
yeah.
crying her eyes. It's a terrible scene.
That's what my notes said. Nope, no lesson, just tits.
yeah.
Yep.
I was
And it's
disappointed
like
in that.
it's tits that you can't even feel good about because of
No,
how you gotta come
it's
around to see them.
real unsettling, that
Yeah,
scene.
it
And
was-
and again, no reason for it to be in there other than maybe just to have
Hit
breasts
that
in the
quota,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Because it's 1977.
Yeah.
Uh, Ted Nelson doesn't know how to drive that Toyota.
Did you notice he popped the clutch?
Yes. Like the other actor has to like ad lib, like, let's go.
Yeah. And then they're on the death proof road, and it seems like he doesn't know how to turn that FJ40 or 60, whatever it is, which again, it's the same vehicle from Elves and whatever the other movie was. To All a Good Night, I think, had one in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep seeing the same things over and over, but yeah, it turns into like almost like an office comedy with the General and Dr. Ted Nelson, where there's like it's the Odd Couple almost.
Yeah.
The general comes in at first, you think he's gonna be like the hard ass, can't be bothered by anything or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he, like you said, he just kind of buddies up and then goes to his house for dinner and takes naps and just kind of lounges doing his thing.
There are parts of that movie that actually look amazing again in 4K, where it's like the melting man almost looks like an old school PSA, really, all dressed
Mhm.
up, where like it's him walking down a hill with the sun setting behind him and it's all orange behind and he's kind of silhouetted.
Just
I'm
Yeah.
about.
like, man, this again, cinematography in this movie is better than like just setting out for a campy 50s homage.
But it, what I mean, but it almost it makes me. Is this a horror movie we're watching?
It's the first
Sure.
new horror creature.
I I I, I would have to disagree.
It's right there
They,
on the poster.
I
they
mean,
were
is it gross? Yeah. But is it a horror movie? It's got the opposite of jump scares, whereas like the camera just slowly pans over to show
Yeah.
you Melty Man in a window or like
it's well,
behind the old couple in their car. Like it's anything but scary. Uh
well, and to that point, um, you do have a truly great looking monster, and all they really have him do for the most part is just like
Walk.
put his hands over his face a lot.
He walks a lot.
He
well,
walks.
he
He
walks
loses an
until the third
ear.
act where he suddenly becomes a one-armed Olympic sprinter.
Yeah.
And how much of him is there to melt?
By
Like
the time that he attacks the
he's
old people in the lemon grove, whoever's parents those were in the production, um, he looks like Ed Harris. He looks like Ed Harris who dunked himself in a vat of chocolate and like confection. Like if Ed Harris went to like went to the Hershey's um, factory and just was like, dunk me in the nougat, dunk me in the chocolate, speed, sound, action, let's go.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
accurate. I loved the couple that go, they're going into their house.
Jonathan
That
Demme apparently.
yeah, and he
And
just
and
gets
Nell Winters.
it gets like pulverized in that kitchen. The kitchen, like, and the girl's just outside, like, do, what's going, like,
Yeah,
doesn't hear any of
I
it.
love this actor. He
she
was amazing.
she
she
was great.
was Kevin McCarthy levels of unhinged in her performance,
I love. She's
and
the
I
one that I
loved
said
it.
needs the Nick Cage Award for acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But like, I got a good laugh out of like how completely fucked up that kitchen was when she walked in and she didn't hear any of it.
Yeah. Or like
Not,
just to
not,
just withstand the lead paint peeling from your roof or ceiling in your kitchen, all the water spots that were all up that wallpaper.
yeah,
I felt dirty being in that kitchen as this
yeah,
woman has a mental breakdown.
I love that woman. She's the only one that like put up a fight against the Melty Man. She chopped his arm off.
Yeah.
She was awesome. I do wonder why she turned around and locked that door
but yeah,
when
and
Melty Man was clearly on the opposite side
stopped
of the room.
stopped talking to the police, let the phone drop out of her hand, and then locked the door behind her and fell to the floor. Real perplexing.
It's
We got to take a
fantastic.
break, and we'll come back and finish up this movie.
Yeah.
I'm
I'll be
Dr.
back.
Ted Nelson.
I'm no tattletale.
Yeah, I'll bet. Wanna play doctor?
No.
Wanna play hide and seek?
Yeah.
I did enjoy the death of the sheriff quite a bit.
Where you
What do you-
got
Throws him on the power lines and
Oh,
just
yeah,
kinda,
that
like
was-
he turned
slides
into
down.
a firework.
That was something.
That was really cool looking.
That was
Just
something.
yeah, there's some things to like in this movie.
I've
There-
never quite seen an electrocution executed like that before.
Right, yeah, I got a good kick out of that.
I like the the black custodian at the end that just kept giving the one-handed swat to the leftover melty body
Yeah.
propped up against the barrel.
Yeah,
that got added for laughs.
that was a good bit.
It definitely made me laugh.
Yeah.
That was not supposed to be in. And again, like there's people who are real upset with the feel of it. Like, yeah, you just watched all these people die, but it's just kind of like par for the course with how just absurd the rest of the parts of that movie that you had in there originally.
You
Like, it
said
just-
people get upset. I want to
Yeah,
find anybody that's upset over how the melting man was handled
I
and
I would say it was
take him behind the woodshed.
probably people that were directly involved in the making of the movie, not anyone
Okay.
studying
I
this.
thought
Someone
maybe there was like some online forums where this
just
was being heavily discussed.
But
yeah, just
it's
swaths of
why
people leaving the theaters in disgust.
In
like
protest.
you did pick up that they left it open for a sequel because the whole reason why there was a time crunch was to find him, magically figure out in less than 7 hours why he turned melty, because they were sending the Scorpio 2 mission right back the next day to
Yes.
Saturn.
Yeah.
And you're like, so you have that going on in the background.
That's what the countdown was for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that was probably being discussed in that scene we talked about earlier where you couldn't hear anything.
I
Because I
think
I totally missed that, but I didn't care enough
they
to go
really,
back and
for someone that's probably watched this movie 20 times, I just picked up that they drop hints. And this might have been edited out in the Mystery Science Theater. That's why they beat around the bush. That's why the general flies directly, because he's like the controller for the military side of it.
okay.
And so like the whole idea is kind of absurd, where I've got 7 hours to find Colonel West, get him back in the lab, and figure out why he's melty.
Mhm.
As we're sending these people back to do the exact same mission tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like you
Well,
would
and
not.
as they're playing that little nugget out like from a newscaster's point of view, I guess, or like radio. I don't know. But the as they're talking, or the overdub at the end is like, throws in the little government cover up thing where it's like the astronauts are in the hospital being tended to by Dr. Ted Nelson, and we're like, we the viewer know that the astronauts are dead, as is
Yeah.
Dr. Ted Nelson.
Yeah. Boy, I'm glad it was only an hour and 26 minutes. I'll say that much.
And
It
as you're
does.
getting all that wrapped up in a little bow, you get the custodian just swatting at the melty body over and over again.
To me, it's not funny. It's like, boy, life is terrible shit. Like that's what I get out of that. Not laughs. I'm just like,
Just
everyone's
melting to
dead.
death by a couple of trash cans.
No one learned anything, and
Yeah.
it's gonna happen again.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah, real
is kind of
statement.
yeah.
That kid is gonna be a bastard.
It's kind of an Eli Roth ending, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very much so.
But that's
Uh,
the way those old movies. Like again, this was ripping off First Man into Space from 58, 59, whatever it was. And it's just like all those old horror movies that were black and white. It was just like the same thing that you would have with the Twilight Zone, where it would just be brutal, like outlook is bleak,
yeah.
humanity is doomed. And it kind of brought that to Technicolor. But yeah, it was just a very unsettling end as as a man gets picked up with two pieces of cardboard and put into a burn bin,
Why did he go on a killing spree?
because
What
he
about
was
like why
Yeah,
would that just
they try
it's-
to at the very beginning after he kills the nurse, Dr. Ted Nelson explains why he must have killed the nurse, and I can't remember what his reasoning is. But then he doesn't stop. He just keeps killing.
yeah, he just
I think they kind of say it's like they just imagine it's shock, because they know again, it kind of takes the piss out of it where you show Alex Rabar, in the capsule with the stupid throw. You've never seen anything to, yeah, all that.
such a line
Like,
delivery.
yeah, like that didn't need to be in there. If it was again like a true homage, it just would be a force of nature. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this guy came back from space. He's fucked up, and now he's bad.
Yeah.
Like that's
Where
all it needed to be. But they kind of like when they tried to build that out, it just doesn't do anything. It just is like gives you the reason. Like, well, now
Well,
I have the reason to ask these questions.
I mean, the smarter movie would have been that, at the very last minute before they're subjected to that awful radiation and everything, is they discover that they're basically on a suicide mission and the government knew it. and then, having that knowledge and not dying from the radiation, then you have a reason for him to be like this angry, I'm going to kill everything in my path monster. But the way it is now, it's just like, so he just melts and kills people. And that's cool.
Remember
Let's
that and make a
what
note of that idea for Species in My Feces script.
I think that's the gist of Mission to Mars with because doesn't Gary Sinise get upset and turn?
I've never seen that.
I don't remember a thing about that movie other than I didn't like it.
Yeah, that was when hey, let's make a Mars movie, and like 3 Mars movies came out.
Yeah.
Let's make a
Oh,
Madman Mars movie.
Oh,
there
fuck
was like 2 Mars movies and then Lost in Space.
that.
What do you think if you took out the unnecessary shit like the two old people in the lemon grove and
Mhm.
the unfortunate sex assault scene and the woman running in slow motion? Like, what do you think the runtime of this would have been? Like an hour 6, maybe?
Yeah, you could really. I mean, again,
So much padding
uh,
unnecessarily.
you think about like the old Universal creatures, and that used to be like an hour 6, an hour 10 minutes. Because
Yeah.
the creature
That's all
from the
these
Black
movies
Lagoon,
need to be.
yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon is barely an hour and maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Even at an hour and 26 minutes, this movie felt too
But
long.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like
Felt
I
way too
couldn't
long.
believe the runtime, much
There-
unlike the second movie that we'll get
Ugh.
into.
One last thing about the Incredible Melting Man, the first new horror creature.
The first new horror creature. That is the claim to fame in the trailer of
Can
this
you
movie.
can you name another movie that instead of saying interior design has interior desecration like Dr. Ted Nelson's house?
Oh my god.
As a
That
20-year
that living room.
veteran of the interior design trade, this house interior is the worst boil on the ass of a pig house I've ever seen.
Oh man, I loved it.
Give me the paper grocery bag aesthetic, please.
I loved it.
I want everything to be brown
Brown and
with
harsh.
red with some macrame and
I I thought it looked real
yellow.
cozy. I could see myself eating a turkey leg and drinking a stubby Coors bottle with the general on that couch, staring at the fireplace.
Yeah.
Does their kitchen change too?
No,
When you when
it's
you first see
red
it, it's like all
with
brown
brown.
with those white knobs. And then the next time you see it, it's like an open kitchen and it's still brown, but I feel like it was a different kitchen.
I guess that one final note I do have, since we're talking about Dr. Ted Nelson and his questionable taste. So there's a killer on the loose, a radiated creature on the loose killing
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
people. Ted Nelson is worried for his wife's safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's pregnant,
Uh-huh.
and what does he do? He shoots her up with drugs that makes her sleepy, so she'll sleep through anything that might happen.
Bitch forgot his crackers, man.
Oh god.
He doesn't care about her anymore.
So he can go off and frolic with his buddy the general.
Yeah. Oh boy.
You might make a movie based on that and get what's her face from ET in it.
Oh, D.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be
Lord.
game. That's all I got to say about
That's all I
that.
got.
Did you naturally pick up on because this is a joke in the Mystery Science Theater episode, which to be fair, listener, I watched the Mystery Science Theater Tuesday or Wednesday night,
You're sick.
and then Friday night I watched the uncut raw 4K of this movie.
You're unwell.
Yeah, you're not well.
And did you pick up on how the music goes? Ted Nelson, Ted Nelson,
No.
Nelson. I implore you this evening or tomorrow for Lazy Sunday to watch this on Mystery Science Theater because you will get a bigger appreciation for this movie.
I'm not watching this again unless we have to.
Yeah.
Unless it
Oh,
is deemed I
Same.
didn't really enjoy it. There were parts that I enjoyed.
Like I laughed a lot, but I didn't enjoy it.
No, this is right up there with elves for me. Like,
Ugh.
this is why it's on the list because one, I knew that 4K was coming out, and two, I wanted to introduce Nelson, Ted Nelson to you guys.
Just watch it again and give me a timestamp to where I can just watch that.
Just watch it.
I'm not, no,
It's
not
a
unless we
quicker
have
cut of
to.
the movie. It's a
Not
quicker
unless
cut
we
of the
have to.
movie than watching it raw.
I want nothing to do with this going forward unless we have to.
Oh,
Do you
Mister,
guys?
let's make a bad movie podcast. Doesn't want to watch a bad movie.
I mean, I will have if we have to. I'll watch it over and over as many
No.
times as necessary.
You have to love. It's love of the game, Jared. It's not pick and choose.
My heart.
Speaking of
Is-
games.
You guys want to
Oh,
play
yeah.
a game?
Yeah, I do.
It's about that time.
Okay, this game's called Taboo.
Oh, no.
Taboo.
Taboo.
You've all played Taboo. You know the rules of Taboo, right?
Yeah, do we have a
It's-
buzzer?
Don't have a buzzer. Maybe, I don't know, sound man. Will we have a buzzer? We'll find out.
Sure.
Sure.
So this is just Taboo. I've got 6 Taboo cards for each of you based off of movies or actors or characters from movies we've seen. There are 6 forbidden words on each card that you can't say while trying to get the other person to guess. In addition to those rules, you can't say things like if the card says Halloween, you couldn't say like an actor's name in it or character's name in it or a quote from it. So like if it was
Oh.
Halloween, you couldn't say like Jamie Lee Curtis plays Laurie Strode.
You mean I couldn't say I shot him 6 times?
Right.
Yeah,
If-
that's a line of dialogue. You could say that, right?
Nope. If the card were to say Tom Atkins, you couldn't say he says thrill me in Night of the Creeps. So you can't say an actor's name, you can't say quotes from it, you can't say a character's name.
So
Just
imagine, if you will, that I haven't played Taboo for 27 years or so.
Mhm.
How do I give how do I give hints as to what the subject is then?
Well, let's say your card was
Say it was
Let's say
Tom
it's
Atkins.
Halloween, you could
let's
say
say it was Tom
a
Atkins. You could
babysitter gets stalked by a killer.
yeah. Or if it was Tom Atkins, you could say like mustache and a lot of you know,
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh 35.
You,
so
you
on
can
and so
say
forth.
Pittsburgh, but you can't
If
say
it's not one of the
thrill
forbidden
me.
words. Correct. Just no quotes, no character names, no.
All right,
like-
so on a Taboo card, here's the subject, and these are the words you can't say.
yes.
Can you
Okay.
say other movies that the actor's been in?
As long as they're not on
No.
the card.
Okay.
Oh,
No former work, no movies.
You'll just have to buzz us if we.
I'll
if we-
buzz you. So you each will have a round. Aaron will give to Josh. Josh will give to Aaron. You each have 6 cards. If you both get more than 8, you both win. If not, I win.
All right.
Let me get, and you'll have 2 minutes to go through them. Let me get a 2-minute timer going here. Hold on. Clock.
Taboo.
Timer. 2 minutes. Okay. I'm going to share. If I can get this, share my
Who's guessing
screen.
first?
Aaron will give to Josh first.
All right.
Can
I'll
you
put
see my
blindfold
screen?
on.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at Aaron to Josh or Josh to Aaron so I can get an answer as to what it actually is.
Okay, so Josh, are you blinded?
I'm blinded. I can't see a thing.
Okay, so your first card will be revealed right now, Aaron. So this is what you're getting to guess. These are the words you can't say. And once you get correct, I will reveal the next one under it. Let me get the timer going. Your time starts now.
Okay, Josh. It's a movie that we've seen.
Okay.
Canada.
The Gate.
Yep. All right. 2 paddocks.
Sam Neill, Event Horizon.
Okay.
Wow, good clue.
Oh, damn it. It's right there. Short vignettes.
Body Bags.
Yep. This is a character from a movie. With Mickey Mouse feet.
Madman.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, wrong one. Um, this would be like Greg Brown.
Oh,
1 minute.
Max.
Okay. Paintball.
Tom Arnold. Jason Lives.
Yep.
Give you that one.
Uh,
Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. That was
yeah, that's it. Oh, it's on there. Shoot. Uh, kid drinking wine.
kid drinking wine. Kid
20
drink.
seconds.
Kid drinking wine. Give me
Kid
something else.
drinks wine.
Uh,
Um, there's some um toys involved.
demonic
Oh,
toys.
can't say toys. It's
Why
part of
can
the
it say?
part because it's demonic toys. You can't say
Oh, I
part
thought it
of
was.
the name.
Oh, okay.
Buzzed.
Sorry.
All right, that was the last one. Oh, don't look yet, Josh. Don't
Oh.
look. Don't look. That was the last one, but
You mean don't look, Aaron?
yeah, don't look, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Did you just see them all?
No, I'm still hung up on all of these icons on your desktop. How do you live like that?
This is my life. All right, so
Yeah.
you got 5 out of 6. So Josh,
All
you'll
right.
need to get good job. Good job. So they were what were they?
Was one of the things you couldn't say hello, Judith? I like that. It's a quote.
You can't quote it. Yeah.
So you got Event Horizon, Max from Madman. The words he couldn't. Well, he couldn't say spaceship, black hole, hell, portal, dimension, blah blah blah. Okay, so you got 5 of those 6, and now Aaron, go ahead and blindfold yourself.
Okay.
You got Event Horizon, Max, Body Bags, Friday the 13th. Yeah. So,
All right.
Josh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Let me move this out of the way.
All right.
And I got to start the timer. Hold on. And I will reveal the first card and you will start now.
All right. Well, let's see. There's things that crawl along the ground.
Night of the Creeps.
Yep. Uh, a famed and beloved Star Trek actor.
Oh, Jack Frost.
Yep. Your favorite actor.
Dan Haggerty.
Yep.
All right. There's 8. Yep.
Just a real wild performance from the antagonist in this movie.
Demon Knight.
No, and he's got a face in his belly.
Oh, Ghoulies Go to College.
Yep.
Do you need Kevin McCarthy?
It was goalies. You got it.
Okay.
He introduces every episode of his
Crypt Keeper.
Yep. Old applesauce mouth.
Applesauce mouth. Jonathan from Vampire Happening.
Close. But that's not his name.
Is it not Jonathan?
No.
What is the guy? Oh my God, it's week 5.
But you're there. You just need the right name.
It's not
Jesus,
Philip.
Mary, and
Oh, Joseph.
yes.
God
Yeah,
bless.
good job. You got all 6.
Woo!
All right. Well done.
I like to
well
thank
done.
your mom because the only time I remember growing up playing Taboo was, I swear that's what we did in Sunday school.
I believe you're right.
Well done. Well done. You beat the game maker.
Hey.
You got 11 of the 12, and you
Oh.
would have got the last one, but so
I
yeah,
gave
you
up.
can't say part of the name.
I gave up.
All right.
I thought I was going to run out of time, so I just said toys.
I should have done 1 minute instead of 2. It would have made it harder.
Yeah.
But
it's all right.
Yeah, so for Event Horizon, you couldn't say spaceship, black hole, hell, portal, dimension. For Max, you couldn't say mustache, camp, head counselor, cards. I don't have to go through all these. I just figured
No,
I'd do it for the
put
listeners.
them on the social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put
So
them
they
up
can play at
there.
home.
Yeah, for your play at home as you listen along to this podcast.
So that was Taboo. Thanks for playing, everybody. Thanks
I
for
loved it.
playing.
Thanks for hosting.
Taboo.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Now we got to do it
Yes.
one way or the other. It's the
Yeah.
last discussion episode for this movie.
It's been a
That
thrill.
feels good. It's like
Yeah.
the last day of school, kind of. Got the thrill of never
I
having
enjoyed
to take notes on this ever again.
I enjoyed this week watching it, knowing that.
You're sick.
Well, it's just a mindset, Jared. Speaking of
Ugh.
sick, Jared, you have a lot of tattoos. Have you, after 5 weeks, thought about getting Betty Williams's autograph tattooed on your back?
No, but I did think about one of those shitty cartoon bats from the beginning. But no, that tattoo would be pretty good. Uh-oh, did we lose Aaron?
I think
Oh
we-
no. He did it
stuck
on
with that smile on
purpose.
his face.
He did it on purpose. He doesn't want to talk about this.
Uh,
He's gonna leave me and you to
look at his face.
anguish. Yeah,
so
that is a face of a man who's pulled one over on us. Well, I guess we'll talk about it like the time you weren't here.
All right.
It's not like he's gonna miss anything from this
No.
discussion.
I mean, I don't have much to talk about. I was really kind of relying on him to be.
Yeah, me too. To be
I
honest,
was done talking about this movie 2 weeks ago.
I mostly was making taboo while I watched the movie. I was multitasking. He says he's staring at a blank screen.
You got kicked, bro.
His internet dropped. Oh well, we'll just hang out and talk while he's coming back.
Yeah.
So your estimation of this movie has dropped every time you've watched it.
I mean, it was never very high to begin with.
Yeah.
I honestly, this last time I tried to watch it because I'm going to share some Amazon custom reviews of this movie as part of my
Okay.
presentation today because like I said, I didn't have much to talk about, but reading the different reviews of people that actually liked it,
Yeah.
their
this is a-
defense is like, oh, it's just a spoof of the Hammer horror of that time, and I'm like, all right, so I'll try to go into this and just clearly watch it as a spoof and try not to be critical of it. And it didn't find it any more enjoyable going in from that viewpoint. And I think it's mainly
No.
because like the Hammer horror films themselves are so campy that they become fun and entertaining to watch on their own.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that's going out of its way to try to like spoof that is just it's just dumb.
Yeah.
It's not.
I've had a complicated relationship with this movie, and but yeah, go ahead and give your reviews.
Oh, go ahead.
This will be a quick little bonus of what the critics are slaying.
Yeah, let's see. So I was going to share a good one, a bad one, and then one that I just thought was they're all kind of funny.
And this is from Amazon.
Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
tried to go to IMDb because usually IMDb is great for like the nutbag reviews that don't make it.
Uh-huh.
But this one surprisingly was the IMDb reviews are somewhat competent.
Who the fuck is going on Amazon to review this movie?
So let's see, where's it at here? I should have had this ready. I apologize.
That's okay. So yeah, my rocky relationship with this, I think I enjoyed it the first time just based off of the lowest of expectations and getting it like a few chuckles out of it. And like the sex romp part of it was fun to see. And then it's just been downhill from there and we've had to endure it. And I apologize for the concept of this show of which we've subjected ourselves to. And hey, he's back.
Hey.
Did you bring him up?
Yep.
Okay. Let's
All
we'll
right.
fill AJ in on what we're doing here.
All right.
Hey
So,
buddy,
hey, buddy.
you're back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome
Um
back.
I'd like
So,
to thank Comcast for their weekly hiccups.
uh-huh. Don't
uh
worry. They'll send you a text here in about 5 minutes telling you that they're working to improve your service.
They
um
have a substation that is a rock's throw from my back porch that it should be the most legit internet in 16 city blocks, and yet it's not.
It's terrible.
it just
Uh,
it knew what was about to happen to you and it tried to save you from it. This
so,
discussion.
uh, so I was telling Jared that I decided that because I ran out of things to talk about with this movie about 2 weeks ago, that I was going to share some Amazon.com customer reviews.
Yeah.
Uh, so I have a good one. I have someone that enjoyed it, someone that didn't, and then one that I just thought was hilarious.
I wonder if any of them are me.
Well, if you're Wolves999, who it's a verified purchase, gives it 5 out of 5 stars. The absurdity increases at a perfect pace. One of those classic movie gems that was riddled with pleasantly ridiculous concepts. Just when you think you've acclimated to its silly premise,
Oh,
it
fuck
amps
this
up to
person.
another level of lulls, which left me giggling. Watch alone if you just love old silly movies or with a bunch of drunk friends for a bad, weird movie night. Easily one of my top 10 bad, weird movies. I might have to make it a holiday tradition to give it a watch.
Top 10.
Top
Wow. A
10,
holiday tradition he picked up on the Christmas.
I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is a Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a something.
5 out of 5
So
for this guy.
that is the pro.
That is the pro.
So he wasn't
What's
rating like the DVD quality of what he purchased. He was just there to say that
tell
he
you?
loved the movie.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
All right. Then we have Jack Wendigo, 1 out of 5
Wendigo.
stars.
Yeah,
The
all right.
title of this one is Not More Boobs Per Minute Than Any Other Vampire Movie. Get ready for this. In 101 minutes, I counted a total of 72 shots of breasts. I included a separate counts, a single shot containing 2 sets of breasts. I also counted pictures of breasts, but did not include breasts without nipple. This computes to a rate of 1 breast every minute and 24 seconds, or 71% of a breast every minute. This is not a particularly high rate. A minute comprises of 60 seconds, so this would be a rate of 1 breast
It's
every
creep.
84 seconds. If count out 84 seconds, this is a long time to wait for a new shot of breasts. In conclusion, I have no doubt that there are vampire movies out there that contain a higher BPM, breast per minute, than this movie. In fact, I am sure there are non-vampire movies that contain a higher breast per minute than this movie.
Well,
Ergo, I am disappointed and unsatisfied. I do not
well,
recommend this picture to any fan of vampire movies or movies containing higher BPM rates. My score is therefore 72 out of 101, which might as well be 0 out of 10.
Wow.
101. Why
Yeah.
the extra point?
I
That
don't know.
that motherfucker stole my talking points for today.
I actually also
So
figured
I
out.
I
I
got nothing.
used. All right. Before we get to it, do the weird one.
All right, let me see if I could. I
Wait,
should
that
have.
wasn't the weird one?
I mean, that's
That was the
very
bad one.
weird.
What a creep.
I
Sorry,
know.
Wendigo, to come after you like that, but that is a
You,
weird thing to do.
you're gonna lose a listener on the breast per minute count.
The
Yeah.
BPMs.
God, where's the? Really should have tagged these better.
I I did go and do. I didn't do a breast per minute. But after last week, when Josh was like, "There's really not a lot of breasts in the happening part of the movie," I wanted to challenge that. So at minute, let me see here. At minute
Oh no, are you Johnny
one,
Wendigo?
well, surprise, motherfucker. Um, at 1 hour and 12 minutes into the movie is when the vampire happening starts.
God, there's
And my
half hour
understanding,
left in the movie when that thing starts.
yeah,
Oh.
my understanding is that the way Joe Bob Briggs, the breast count works, is every time you see a full breast on the screen, that counts as one.
Yeah, so you're on the
If there are two
JBB.
breasts, if there's a full chest, that's two.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're on
So
the
that's
JBB BPM scale.
now listen, I didn't do per minute, but just as soon as I'm not counting what Wendigo did, which was all of the uh, giant portraits, or Betty
Yeah.
Williams just whipping them out right from the get go. 56, 56 breaths for the last
So
last 30
Wow.
minutes
it's
of
the
that movie.
in your
Um,
face, Big Z.
Yeah. But there are a lot of repeats.
Take it up with George Wendigo. He seemed to have it down to a science. So
I like that his disappointment wasn't with the quality of the movie, which is bad, but more with that it didn't meet his BPM expectations.
Like, who said, what this is? There's
Yeah.
a lot of boobs in this movie. And I don't think I've ever, it's been a minute since I have been 13 years old. At 13, I could imagine, sure, that's something anyone's going to be concerned about. At 44, no, I don't think I give a shit.
But
okay,
this,
I found this review. Are you ready for my last review?
before you say that one, one more point on Johnny Wendigo. He clearly had the algorithm set up because he's done it before with other vampire movies with boobs, and
Well,
had
but he
his
didn't.
expectations set to have been met by this particular formula of vampire happening.
He didn't list better movies though. They had a better
true.
BPM.
Well,
That's
He's
true.
just. I don't feel like there's a lot of scientific method.
Can you find other reviews from this guy? Like if
probably
you click
can.
on his name, does it have his other?
Jack
I mean, we don't
Wendigo.
have to do it now. That'd be
I'll do a
funny
little
exercise.
research. We'll have a Jack Wendigo corner.
Yeah, go ahead and give your third.
All right. All right. So the Twitchy one gives it 3 out of 5 stars.
The
This is a
Twitch.
verified
Jesus.
subject line. Not from 2021.
Okay.
Tired of people putting 2021 on a 60s or 70s film. Yes, I said film because it's what they were called back in the day. Times have changed and this could be used as false advertising. Gee, hope no one sues you like the people that made the movie or someone that still owns the rights, which you don't and shouldn't even be playing this 100% fact. I hate thieves. ...
Whoa.
All right, that's not me.
That was all one sentence, no punctuation. And
Oh my God. Who was that?
the Twitchy one.
The
Twitchy one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that what they were trying to say was that this was a bootlegged DVD that was being sold on Amazon, because there does seem to be a lot of people that are like, this is trash. It's a bootlegged copy of the VHS. It looks like garbage, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what
probably
Twitchy
just the way
one
it
was
looks.
trying to say, but it was a lot.
Wow. That was
There you go.
well, thank you for sharing those. That was
There you
good.
go.
Kept me from talking about this movie any further.
I feel some kind of way that you guys aren't talking about things defined in the movie. Like I have this week, and I know we're up against time because I had to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Chairman Mao vampire, when Martin bites the book, he drains all the color out of it, and Mao is upset when it's white.
Uh-huh.
Or what about the actual costumed vampire as a 50s space person with a giant globe on their head? Do you even remember that?
Nope.
Like, why have a costume party and there's only one person really dressed up in a costume?
Yeah, there's a whole costume room.
Yeah.
Which apparently only had wigs for Del Mook.
And it's in the countryside.
Yeah, the monk.
What's her name?
It's in the countryside.
Demonte?
And listen, I'm trying to be serious about a movie that we've watched for 5 weeks.
Uh-huh.
I don't have anything left for
you're
this.
gonna get cut off. We're gonna have to come back. So think about this point.
Yeah. I have it.
let's hope your internet stays intact, and we'll come back, and you can get serious about Vampire Happening.
Finally.
All right,
All
we'll be
right.
back.
All right.
Oh, did you get some crackers? I told you yesterday that we needed some crackers.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay. So for real,
All right. Silliness out of the way.
the last clear thought about this movie and topic of discussion is Betty Williams seems to drive forever to get to this castle.
Yeah.
Okay. Because a perfectly cubed rock flies towards her car, a tree falls, etc., etc. So she's out in the middle of the woods and her family's keep.
Mhm.
Within a stone's throw, again, to use that analogy or length of measure, you have a monastery, her castle, and a reform school.
Mm-hmm.
Why? If it's
Yeah.
out in the middle of the Transylvanian countryside, are those three things within walking distance or eyesight of each other?
They,
And doesn't
they
it-
share a courtyard basically?
They have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she can stand at her window and show her breasts to the
To Martin.
to
yeah.
Martin
And then
across the way.
And the abbot can watch the girls topless
Yeah.
waving goodbye to their dates from the reform school. So
Yeah.
it's like almost like a logic question, like who, like for the distance of these three places, that just seems very convenient.
Isn't there a comment made about why she chose to live there because it was close to the monastery? Doesn't
You mean Claire Monde or Betty Williams?
Betty, doesn't she say something like, "Oh, that's why grandmother chose to stay here," or something like that because of the monastery?
Yeah, because what's the guy's name?
Joseph?
Joseph.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Larry?
I think you called him John.
Jonathan.
Larry.
All right, because Joseph talks about how Clarimonde would steal from the young. So
Yeah, but there, to your point though, it does show, I think, like one of the establishing shots of the house, it shows her like approaching in her car when all this stuff's falling, but you don't see any of that stuff.
Yeah,
You
like
don't see the monastery, you just see the house, like the kind of
I just assume it's that castle, just the castle, her castle being shown multiple times as the goes off.
Yeah.
I never really thought to think, oh, that's the monastery, that's the girls' school.
Yeah, no, I don't think it shows them. I don't think you can see them in that shot.
I guess it's one big complex, but it's the difference between the United States and Transylvania.
Yep, we can chalk this whole mess of a movie up to that, maybe.
Or more likely the United States and East Germany.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of talking about it while you were getting your internet sorted out. That like what has been your roller coaster with this movie from day one to now? Like, have you enjoyed it throughout? Or
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been peaks and valleys, and it really just depends on where you're at mentally outside of doing this podcast, how it affects you. Because like if you're having a good day and everything else is equal, you can put this on like I did last time, like at 11 in the morning, and just be like, okay, it is going to be terrible, but I'm going to work through it and I'm going to find things to talk about.
Yeah.
Whereas like 3 weeks ago, was it 3 weeks ago? Yeah. We started back up on this. I was like, son of a bitch, I don't want to watch this again. I was in Josh's camp.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think more than if you go back to like Mad
No
Men,
one was in Josh's camp.
you got to go look at this from our point of view, like Mad Men.
Yeah, only two other movies have made it this far. Madman and Jack Frost. And I remember in Madman slowly getting to the point where like I really started to like it. And because the first couple of viewings, I was like, oh my God. Because
because I remember it was on Joe Bob
Mhm.
last drive-in, and barely remembered it on there. And then when we started watching, it was just kind of like, all right, well, I get what they were trying to go at. It's no, say, like Bloody Valentine, but it's serviceable.
Yeah.
And thinking I don't want to watch this again. But then by week 3 or 4, it's like, yeah, because you start to build up the theories
It gets
that
its
get
hooks in you.
convoluted. Yeah, it gets your
Mhm.
hooks in you. I will say with Jack Frost, I felt that a little bit. I have not felt that at all with Vampire Happening. Like there's very little because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Uh, to Wendigo's point, if you're just tuning in for boobs and vampires, there's some of that in this movie, but there's nothing else. And to me, this is a movie that was probably just money laundering
Yeah.
because just there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
It would be like the lowest of the low drive-in movie or heavy petting movie that you put on during like a double or triple feature for kids to make out. Like that's it.
Mhm.
There's no one ever. Freddie Francis, when he dusted his hands at this, was like, no one will give a shit and talk about this movie in 2025. But yet here we are.
Here
Guess
we
what,
are.
Freddie? Here we are.
And
No,
a handful of Amazon customers that
I
think it's a fantastic farce.
well, I I I ask that because I think it's important. This is how I'm going to approach it anyway, is when it comes to make a decision about who we're voting, and we don't have, I'm not, this is just conversationally, we're not voting now, but I'm going to approach it with how did I feel about this movie the first time I saw it versus the movie I watched last night. I can't go at it with the mindset of like I've watched this fucking thing 5 times now, and that's what I'm, voting from that sort of blood boiling. I can't watch this again mindset. So
Well,
that's
it
how I'm going
hasn't
to
gotten
approach
any
it.
fucking better.
Well, that's what I was saying. I liked it the first time I saw it,
Ugh.
and as a comedy that I got some chuckles out of that I expected to be terrible, which it was, but so that's how I'm going to look at it. That's just
Did it
saying.
meet your BPM requirement?
It surpassed my BPM, my expectations. That I don't have a requirement because I'm not a fucking creep like Johnny Wendigo. I was gonna say that my plan was to have watched Dracula Dead and Loving It so that we could come in and the three of us could talk about that and how it compares to this. But my day got hijacked yesterday because I spent 5.5 hours in urgent care, so that blew that shit away. So I don't have an intelligent conversation to have about Dracula Dead and Loving It. I wish I did.
Oh, I hated
So,
it from
so we'll
2
just
weeks
have to
ago.
continue
I
to
don't think
talk
I
about this.
had seen it since college, and I was just like, "This is dog shit." Like I felt real bad for a lot of the people involved.
Yeah, I
That's Mel
remember
Brooks's last
being
movie
terrible.
that he was in, right?
Oh, that I don't know. I feel like maybe that sounds accurate.
Oh,
Someone will have to look that up. But uh, to why does Joseph, when he falls in the well, why does he come up with lettuce hanging all over him?
I mean,
Josh doesn't care. Josh just wants to vote.
I gotta do my due diligence and talk about something that has to do with this movie. And when I watched it today, I was like, oh yeah, I just guess that just
I
realized that was a weird thing to have
I've
happened.
made that note about the lettuce on his face every single time I've watched this, and I just haven't been bothered to mention it once.
Yeah, there's
would it be like
There's just so
they
many
don't have a disposal. There's no electric in the
no,
place.
but why would it? Yeah,
You wouldn't throw your trash in the well.
No, I don't
I wouldn't-
understand it. It's played for
mean,
jokes.
Why
I
did
guess.
Joseph survive the fall in the well?
I
How
guess
did
'cause
he get
had
in the well? The last I saw was Claire Monty just did like a sidestep and he fell into a casket.
Oh, it was the
Or was it there was a trap door?
It was a trap door.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she pulls a fast one on him.
Yeah, she's got the Batman villain casket that
Why? And I'm sure we've brought this up before, but like, why doesn't he just kill her in the 200 years she's been there? Or you
because
know.
she's been under lock and key. So
But
he doesn't know for sure that she's a vampire. He just knows all this tall tales.
So you can't just shove a fucking stick into a corpse's heart just in case?
it seems like when she first arrives, he's very scared about it and like has already assumed that Delamorte is a vampire. Or,
Who?
you know,
Claire
Claire.
Monde.
Yeah, Claire.
It's week 5. Come on.
Claire.
Delamorte, Delamore, Mondamon.
Del Monte.
Um,
Del Monte green beans.
Jared, there are questions that will just never be answered in this mortal realm.
Yeah.
And I think some of the ones that you're picking for right now are there. Because again, I got to cut myself off from saying that. I find myself, when I listen to these doing the sound editing, I'm saying "and again" a lot. But regardless, that's an
It's
aside.
your who's the guy that says and another one?
Yeah.
Another one.
Oh God. DJ Khaled.
Yeah, that's your DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
I think you should trademark it.
Nah, it's gonna be on the first bit of merch. Why? I'd have forgot what I was gonna say. I keep looking at Josh on the screen and he's so upset that we're still trying to talk about this film. And there's just nothing. Like, this is blood from a stone at this point.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up.
Where, you know, talking about Mystery Science Theater from earlier, where they knew well enough just to show the movie once and never go back to it.
Yeah.
Whereas we are too dumb to know better, and we keep hurting ourselves.
It's all part of the social experiment.
Well, let's wrap it up. Unless you really want to have more to say about it.
I mean, I could talk all day about Vampire Happening, but no one wants to listen to it or be part of it.
Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do. And that's
see if we're going to watch it again.
Count to 3 and see who eats the buckle. So you ready?
What are we doing?
Shut up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Vampire Happening. Welcome to the Shit Locker Vampire Happening. We will give you a proper induction. I don't know. We'll have to figure out the logistics of when that's going to happen, but you will be anointed one of the worst. Congratulations.
My belly hurts.
Which means
there's going to be another week of
we'll have
Vampire happening.
But after that, we'll have 2 fresh movies, which I say I guess it'll be the only 2 left.
So that means what? Next episode is Live in Your House.
Next episode,
we got another Live in Your House.
Live and in Your House. We'll have to come up with a drinking game, probably a BPM type drinking game. I want to know the BPM.
Don't you like breasts?
I want to know BPM versus Madman Feet, what we get more of.
I did notice, and there's been after Mad Men, I started noticing how many times we see the feet of a killer and monster in horror movies.
Yeah.
In just about every movie we've watched, there's been some gratuitous foot shots of the creature or killer.
But not Vampire Happening.
No.
Freddie Francis wasn't a foot guy.
He did not want to show us Pia's feet, and I would have gladly looked at them.
Freddie Francis enjoys nature that looks like dicks,
yes,
and vaginas,
yes,
and he likes boobs,
yes, and probably not so hot on gay people.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
I was watching it again with the lens of, and that first part is questionable, how she reacts to the gay guys in the car, and
when she has her dream that everyone in there is a drag queen.
Yeah, and they're being tortured.
And the one guy does look like Perry Farrell.
Yeah.
Twice. Like, are those guys twins? There's the guy that she goes, "What's the matter? Don't you like breasts?" And then another guy that looks just like the guy that is asked that question that doesn't like eating breasts.
I
puts the
think it's
noose
supposed to be the same guy.
on the guy. No, I'm saying there are two people
Oh,
that look exactly the same
It's
with
like
the
the
a
same
two
silhouette.
guys.
face.
It's the two guys that are kissing in the car because they
oh
do look
yeah,
similar.
they do look similar.
I thought the dude in the car looked like the handyman.
Look, we're just got to save it for live in your house.
Oh my
See, we do
God.
have more to talk about. But yeah, I guess just to wrap it up, like I didn't enjoy the melting man other than the special effects. That's and I would actually recommend people at least watching like clips of it just to see Rick Baker's work on that because it's really a cool unique looking creature. So if you haven't seen it or know what we're talking about, maybe do Aaron's advice and watch the MST3K just so you can get a look at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, check it out. It's a cool looking monster, but maybe don't
Or
watch the full hour and 26 minutes of it.
or just watch RoboCop where the guy that did
Yeah, the
the guy that
toxic waste guy.
explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They basically took everything from the Incredible Melting Man in terms of application of materials and
Mhm.
made that guy
Yeah,
where he gets
yeah.
hit by the Ford Taurus and explodes.
Yep. Very good call on that.
Uh, um, I don't like doing horror movie spoofs.
No.
No, I don't like trying to dissect something that then you can go on the internet and basically read these idiots reviews that are like, "Come on, guys, it's supposed to be a farce. It's supposed to be." I don't like dissecting something where the argument just be turned around and be like, "Well, that's how they intended it."
Yeah.
It just gets
So
inside my groff.
the like Red Christmas elves. Uh,
Everything Jack Frost. Well, that's not good for you, buddy.
I mean, I will say to Josh's kind of point, um, and the Vinegar Syndrome 4K release brought this out last night. I really can't stand the horror movies that are coming out now that haven't graduated from the Rob Zombie like early aughts era of making things look dirty so they're weird and that's going to be my monster and then throw the most basic grade school slapstick on top of it. Like all this shit coming out now that's like in the public domain. So let's make Winnie the Pooh. Let's make Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse a Steamboat Willie. Like I'm sure they're terrible. I will refuse to watch them because I don't enjoy that stuff. The Vinegar Syndrome, where they took, real film and made it look as best as they could. Like this movie from 1977 looks so much better
Mhm.
in my downstairs theater than any of this shit that ends up on the last drive-in from the last 10 years. That it
Yeah.
looks like either a Hallmark movie or it looks like a digital steady cam shot because that's what they
Right.
use.
Yeah.
Like the worst one I can think of that we've done for the show is like Red Christmas. It looks so amateur hour that
Mhm.
just if we had those two to up 1-to-1 between Incredible Melting Man and Red Christmas, Incredible Melting Man would win again because it looks like a real movie.
Yeah. Well, I think things I mean, it's a whole discussion can't really don't have the time for now, but it's streaming. Everything's just made with streaming in mind. Like there's so many fucking avenues and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Like it's good that people are getting their art and their, stuff out there for people to see. But at the same time, like you can just get an iPhone and, cobble together a movie and some service, whether it's Tubi or Pluto or Fubo or Fubi or whatever the fuck will stream it, you'll get distribution and the quality doesn't really matter. Whereas back then, everything was made by a studio for a theater. Whether, it could have been released as drive-in schlock, but it still was made by a studio that, could put something behind it. But that's my theory anyway.
Yeah, I think American International Pictures back in the day was maybe the A24 of the
Right.
70s.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you had production houses that were trying to make stuff look as good as they could.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, like there's just the whole point of this podcast is just to go out and experience it. And I'm glad that this week we had two of my picks that was basically covering the terribleness of usual movies that I watch, and without a doubt, I tend to watch very shitty movies and have to palate cleanse quite a bit.
I'm happy to be a part of it. To that point, there's only 2 movies left, so we might as well say what they are going against each other. You got them?
In 2 weeks?
Yeah, or we can wait and reveal it in your
so
house.
we wait and reveal it. We gotta get through one more freaking week of Vampire.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the reveal during the
if we can stay
live
sober
stream.
from the boobs breast per minute count,
it's going to be a debacle.
It's going to be something.
And it's going to be longer than Madman. That's what's wild.
Yeah, we'll just have to like jump in. But we'll figure it out. All right.
Enjoy your Jello mold, Josh. Gonna let you know when you come over to watch, you're gonna have to eat a Jello mold of breasts.
Okay.
All right. Well, save some room for next week because we're definitely gonna eat the buckle
in your house.
Yeah.
Woo!
Bye, buckle buddies.
Goodbye. Damn it. Atchka!